Terrence indirectly through Twitter, through another colleague. And I've honestly, I used to be very lonely, and now I'm just much better off. No, seriously. Um, it is really amazing how many friends and colleagues you can make from Twitter that have actually made a difference. I poo-pooed Twitter totally. I thought it was a complete waste of time until
Yeah.
about a year ago, and a couple of people said, "Now take a look at it from a business perspective." I was thinking, I really don't care what people are having for breakfast or lunch or dinner or
Right.
whatever else, or what store they're going into at the moment. But there's a vibrant business community there. And getting back to Terrence's question of how instructional design was motivated by Twitter, or how maybe it improved your instructional design, some of my biggest influences were the folks from Articulate. For example, Tom Coleman, Dave Anderson.
Hmm.
They put out some great screeners, and they put out some great blogs with just some tremendous ideas. And they're simple. And yet those ideas can really make a course a lot more interesting. And so that's where I saw the benefit of Twitter, and how everybody's sharing ideas and sharing
Hmm.
techniques to make things a little bit better. And it becomes a lot of fun. And we all share in the same thing. I mean, if you think about it, everybody's in competition, yet everybody's collaborating. And that's
Sure.
good because we all grow from it. I still run into people who refuse to go on Twitter or refuse to do any kind of social media or share because, we don't want to give away the family secrets. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
And for the most part, you're losing the richness of what's out there.
And for example, again, to refer to what I mentioned previously, that our instructional design colleagues who might be behind very tight firewalls and cannot access Twitter during work hours, which I totally understand, is very important to protect confidential client information. But again, there's always your free time. And we do have commitments in the community and with our loved ones, but there's usually an hour or two each week where you as an instructional designer can devote to your own personal and professional growth. So you get on Twitter, maybe if it's just 1 hour once a week, you can use the Twitter hashtags like hashtag or pound sign eLearnChat or pound sign LearnChat, pound sign eLearning, and just do a targeted search, and you can get away from all the fun stuff that's out there on Twitter to focus on instructional design tweets and see what people are talking about. What is the conversation? Follow the links, read the blogs. It's really on-demand learning for us as professionals, and in this world where things are changing so quickly. I mean, look at us, the three of us on this video live stream. I wouldn't have imagined me participating in something like this 12 months ago. Twitter can help people get there. And again, use your personal time. If you feel your organization may have things too locked down, and a lot of times there's very valid reasons why, schedule time for yourself. You deserve it.
And Lily is was just saying in the chat room that she, for a while, her college had actually uh, banned Twitter from the campus. And there are definitely institutions and organizations, not just academic, but private, corporate as well, that don't quite see the value in microblogging, and they're setting up the Twitter Nazis, and stopping, as best they can, trying to stop, the tweet feeds from getting or penetrating through their organization. But the really the bottom line, when you look at this from an organizational structure, is that you can't stop it. It's a back channel. It's always going to exist. And now with the emergence of really effective mobile tools like our cell phones, we can access our network via Twitter, via Facebook, via MySpace, whatever social media tool we have of our choice. And it doesn't matter what the company allows in front of or behind their firewall, because we have, a back channel through our cell phones now. So instead of companies spending and making such, or organizations putting such an effort around governance and restriction of social media, what they should be doing is trying to open the doors to how can we use this to our advantage. And I'm not talking simply about a marketing advantage, but a learning advantage where there's an incredible wealth of knowledge that's being shared. And every time a corporation puts a wall up to block that, they're doing themselves more damage than good.
It will definitely take a culture shift, especially in how people work, because it's true. Managers will probably see, between the hours of 8 to 5 time on Twitter as, well, you're not really working, you're goofing off. So again, the burden of proof is on us as instructional designers to use the new social media tools and document from a business perspective what we are gaining from it and how it's applied in our jobs in the workplace and how it can positively affect the organization. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of corporate speak, but that's reality. Managers have customers to please. If they're public, they have shareholders, stockholders to satisfy. So whatever social media tools that we're using to increase our knowledge and our networking connections, we still have to tie it back to the business's bottom line, their goals, their objectives. In other words, the language that's meaningful to them, we need to take what we're getting as a benefit from social media and translate it into their language so that they understand how it works. I haven't tried it yet, but I think there's a behind the firewall Twitter tool called Yammer, and I think it's yammer.com. And also through Twitter, I got connected to an old colleague of mine who works with financial services industries, specifically brokerages. And I'm going to go ahead and promote his product. I don't get any money for this, but they actually archive tweets for financial institutions. His product is called Arkovi, ARKOVI.com. And he's seeing an increase in corporations which have been afraid of using Twitter. They're again starting to see the value, and he's created a tool to help them for federal regulatory compliance standpoints archive those tweets just in case they might be needed in the future. But again, as instructional designers, Twitter as well as LinkedIn, for example, for me, has given me access to Dr. Allison Rosette from down in San Diego, Donald Clark, great instructional designer up in the Pacific Northwest, Dr. Jane Hart in the UK. It's amazing, people who you never thought you would ever meet in your lifetime, and you buy their books or go to their seminars, you send them a tweet and they tweet you back. Twitter has really created this very open, collaborative social media community that even though if your corporation has a strong firewall and you can't access it during the day, you are worth it. Use some of your personal time, your free time, and get involved. Create a Twitter account and just start watching what people are tweeting about regarding e-learning, and then slowly start to participate and for your comfort level. But I'd say that would be your personal learning goal for 2011 is put that on your personal plan. Get started, but document how you are learning and changing and growing so you can present it to your management.
Now, beyond Twitter, and Twitter is a fantastic tool. I love it. It's I always think of my social media in three phases, where the first phase is the construct phase, where whatever I'm trying to share, I start building it, whether it's a blog post, whether it's a video, whatever the actual media is, and then I usually post it somewhere like YouTube. So the next step, or Facebook, the next step would be to create an aggregate. And then the third step is to communicate it out. And Twitter seems to be my tool of choice to communicate out. And one of the reasons is because it's an open network where you can literally access, I don't know what the numbers are up to. I think it's 50 million now. But you can literally access 50 million people with a little creativity, whereas most of the other social networks, you don't have that level of access to the community. You have to slowly build up your community, and you can access your community, but not necessarily go outside of that easily. So what other tools do you use, or have you seen used in other organizations that sort of help in the learning process or in the instructional design process, Jenise?
Actually, Skype and LinkedIn, as well as Twitter. As an independent consultant working from my virtual home office, when I have a client project, I am focused and dedicated working on that client project. So although there's this wealth of tools out there, my time constraints means I need to find the tools that are most effective for me. And I've connected with people on LinkedIn, and then we've connected with each other on Twitter, and then we share our Skype accounts. And on LinkedIn, for example, if I'm using the Articulate Studio suite of e-learning tools, there's a group on LinkedIn for Articulate users. Same with Captivate, same with Lectora. There's instructional design groups out there on LinkedIn. Those LinkedIn groups are almost like Twitter, not as immediate as Twitter, but I definitely access the LinkedIn groups, post a question. I've seen other people who are virtual independent consultants. They ask, hey, can I have your feedback? This is an idea I have for an e-learning course, and they'll post a URL, and right there in the LinkedIn group, whichever group it is, people will provide their feedback, which is when you're an independent, you don't have those colleagues and other cubicles around you, so that avenue of social media networking really helps out. And with Skype, I love it. It's you can immediately connect with people through instant message, phone chats. Yes, I've received new contracts. In other words, just to recap, there are a ton of different tools out there. I do want to explore them all, but because of time constraints and making sure I get the jobs done for my clients, my biggest tools are LinkedIn, Twitter, and Skype, and to a lesser degree, Facebook. Who knows, maybe 12 months from now, Facebook will have a larger percentage in terms of usage for me, but it's amazing when you make these connections online with other instructional designers. Bottom line is you don't have to limit it to just that one network, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn. When you feel confident with that business relationship, you can share all your ways of contacting each other. And like I say, I have my Skype window, my Twitter window, my LinkedIn window open every day. And I feel like I'm connected to the world.
And every so often you open your house window too, right?
Oh, yeah, not today. It's kind of foggy, so it's a little cool. But yesterday and the day before, it was 80s summer weather in December. And it was, yeah, definitely had the windows open.
You know, there's not a bad tool out there. It's just everybody has different applications for those tools. So, you know, even though one instructional designer will use Twitter, another instructional designer may not see the value in Twitter, but they may use a different tool. And that's kind of the beauty of where we are right now in our social media universe, is that there are so many. You know, I couldn't even count how many tools there are to use to help the learner. I've become, probably over the last maybe 6 months to a year, I've become a huge fan of the potential of Facebook as a learning tool. And it's, you know, Facebook has the same stigma that Twitter had or has, in that people that are kind of regimented to look at it a certain way, they, you know, don't see the living potential behind the organic tool. And Facebook, although most people would call it a content management system, because of the FBML application, Facebook can be easily converted to a learning management system. You know, not necessarily the greatest one, but still very effective, especially if you're trying to train customers where it doesn't have to be on a closed network, or certain topics that employees can share on an open network that it doesn't have to be behind a firewall. So there's some incredible potential, and we're starting to explore that on the ISD 2.0 fan page. We're starting to explore the learning potential a lot more.
Also, some of the groups, like, for example, ASTD, could take it more advantage of Facebook and
Sure.
all of the different media. I know ASTD meets on Twitter and has, I think, chapter meetings on